Good evening, everyone. It's Robert from On My Turntable. Hope you're having a wonderful evening this evening. Tonight I wanted to talk about some great 60s hits. I love the 60s music. It's so original, as my dogs try to chase each other. It's so original and unique, and the music itself has stood the test of time. I created about 20 songs on this list. I've also going to share it with you on my Spotify as well. Spotify is a great format for listening to music. It's free. You can purchase a membership, which is about $10 a month, to allow you to not hear any commercials, to also download the music and play it when you're not online. So there's an advantage of that as well. As I said, it's a great format, but you don't have to pay all that stuff. You can still listen to it for free. So I'll put the link to my list in the comments below, and please look for that and share. Before I get started, please hit the like and subscribe button below. Max and I want you to like and subscribe. I want to continue to put great content out there, to be informative, to show you guys all these great bands and artists that I have in my collection, and I'm having a great time doing it. So this band that you can hear in the background is called the Zombies, and their big hit, this happens to be Time of the Season. It's their featured song of the 1968 album Odyssey and Oracles, and it was named 35 Best Songs of the 1960s. The Zombies were a great band out of the 60s, classic band, and this next one is one of their hits as well, and She's Not There. It's their first debut single in 1964. Reached number 12 in the UK charts, and the start of progressive rock, classic rock. It's kind of in between the innocence of the 60s and getting a little harder as far as rock music at the time. Great vocals, great harmonies. Excuse me, don't make a lick, okay? They're in my ear. Sorry. Great harmonies, great vocals, great band all around, great songs. All these, I'm hoping all these list of 20 songs that I have are all great bands to you. I know they're some of my favorites. I could have put 50 on this list and they'd all be great songs, but let's go on to the next one. This is Bus Stop by the Hollies. Another great band of the 60s. This was released as a single in 1966. They reached number 5 in the UK charts, and it was their first top 10 hit. The Hollies, Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress, He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother, all these great hits that they have. Just a great band all around. And the next one, Turn, Turn, Turn by the Byrds. 12-string guitar by Roger McGuinn and David Crosby and Graham Parsons. Just a great band, the Byrds, and it's B-Y-R-D-S, not to be confused with the band the Byrds out of England that had Ronnie Wood in it from Rolling Stones fame. But Turn, 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 it's a cover of a song written by Pete Seeger in the 50s. The song was originally recorded in 1959. The Byrds version is the most successful version of the song and was released in 1965. It reached number 1 in the US, top 150, and number 26 in the UK charts. Just a unique sound with that 12-string, very flowing type of song, very harmonic singing, just a beautiful song. This next song began as an instrumental. It's Spooky by Classic 5. It was written in 1967. They added lyrics to create a song called Spooky Little Girl. It's a cool kind of rhythmic song, very slow moving, and there's a great sax solo in it as well. Just a classic. Unlike most 60s songs, very poppy, has a smooth, cool rhythm to it. And somewhere I read somewhere where it was used as Halloween song as well because of the spookiness of it. I don't find it very spooky. I just find it a great song. I think it's more of a love song than it is a spooky song. The next song I have is "Summer in the City" by the Lovin' Spoonful. It was written in 1966 and reached #1 on the Billboard's Top 100. Became a top gold record and was named 401 on the Rolling Stones Top 500 albums and songs of all time. Great band, the Lovin' Spoonful, and they've got some huge hits, and I love this song. This is one of my favorite songs from them for sure. This next song is from a great band from the 60s. It's "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5. Who doesn't love the Jackson 5? Michael Jackson, I don't know how old he was at this time, maybe 13, 14 or something like that. Amazing vocals, they had rhythm, they had song, they had harmonies, they could sing, they could play, and of course Michael Jackson went on to huge fame. This song was released in 1969 and the first natural single by the Jackson 5. It also became their first #1 hit and was ranked 121st on the Rolling Stones Top 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. Just a classic song by Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson. This next song is no slouch at all. This is "Everyday People" by Sly and the Family Stone. It was the first single to go #1 in the soul charts and in the US Billboard Top 100. It stayed #1 for 4 weeks, and Billboard named it the top 5 songs in 1969. Sly and the Family Stone, if you've seen them, they're great. Any of their videos, any of their concerts, they put on their wonderful show. And great song. Classic 60s song. It's great rhythm. Next one is "Sunshine." Let's say this 10 times fast. "Sunshine Superman" by Donovan. This is a psychedelic song if you ever heard one, for sure. This one was released in 1966, reached #1 in the Billboard's Top 100, and it was Donovan's only single to reach #1. And I didn't know this, but Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones, the famous players from Led Zeppelin, played on this album and this song. Of course, Jimmy Page was a huge session player at the time, as well as John Paul Jones, and they were asked to play on this great song by Donovan, "Sunshine Superman." The next one on the list is one of my all-time favorites. It's "Can't Find My Way Home" by Blind Faith. A huge supergroup that only lasted about one album, unfortunately, but it had Steve Winwood, it had Eric Clapton, it had Ginger Baker in it. Just an amazing lineup for such a short-lived band, but they created this classic in "Can't Find My Way Home." Of course, Steve Winwood, vocals, keyboards, and guitars, Eric Clapton on guitar, and Ginger Baker on drums. It peaked at #1 in the UK, US, and Canada at the time it came out. Again, one of my all-time favorites. Steve Winwood has such a unique, beautiful voice, for sure. Next one on the list is by the Youngbloods, a song called "Come Together." This is an anthem song for peace in the 60s, this one. That was released in 1967. Became a minor hit for the band and it peaked #62 and reached #37 on the contemporary charts as well. It was re-released in 1969 and shot to #5. But the song talks about peace and love and harmony and coming together because that was the time. At the time, it was very tense time in the 60s, and this is a song about just coming together and loving everyone. Beautiful song. Next song is Son of a Preacher Man by Dusty Springfield. This very slow, bluesy kind of song. She's got an amazing voice as well. Recorded in 1968. Her version became a top 10 hit in the States and number 9 in the UK. It was her last top 10 hit, for almost 20 years. And then she did a song with the Pet Shop Boys, What Have I Done to Deserve This, back in 1987. Then it was re-released in 1995 and hit number 1 in Iceland, of all places. I don't know why Iceland, but great song by Dusty Springfield. This next song is definitely a psychedelic bluesy number. This is Going Up the Country by Canned Heat, released in 1968. It was called a rural hippie anthem. It became the band's biggest selling hit and the best known song for the band as well. It peaked at number 11 in the US and number 19 in the UK charts. And the song itself was based on a blues song by Henry Thomas back in 1928. And you can hear the blues rhythm in it. I think they've sped up the song to make it more modern, but it's definitely a blues-driven song for sure. And the singer's got a unique voice. There's a video on this. You should check out the video. It's a pretty cool song, actually. Another classic by this great band that I featured earlier, the Byrds, Mr. Tambourine Man. You can hear the great 12-string guitar by Roger McGuinn. It was a song written by Bob Dylan, actually, and sung by the great band the Byrds on their debut album of the same name back in 1965. Reached number 1 of the Billboard Top 100 and UK charts as well. Great song. Another one coming up, a classic, California Dreamin' by the Mamas and Papas. What can you say about the Mamas and Papas? Great harmonies, great songs, short-lived, unfortunately, but this song came out in 1965. Song is number 89 on the Rolling Stones list of 500 greatest songs of all time, and it was also inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2001. So California Dreamin' is a timeless classic. Mama Cass, one of the featured singers, unfortunately was part of that 27 list of people that died when they were 27, like Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison of the Doors, Kurt Cobain, and Mama Cass, just to name a few. But beautiful song, California Dreamin'. They've got tons of hits as well. This next song is a pretty popular poppy song. It's Happy Together by the Turtles. This one was released in 1967. It actually knocked the Beatles' Penny Lane out of number 1 slot in the US Billboard's Top 100. It was their only chart-topping hit in the States, and it reached number 12 in the UK and in Canada. Number 2 in Canada. Another great band with great harmonies. All these bands from the 60s had beautiful harmonies. The structure of their songs was great. Poppy rhythms, poppy choruses, and again, timeless classics. Another one from a great band, one of my all-time favorites, For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield. Stephen Stills, Neil Young, before they became Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Another anthem of the 60s. It's an anti-war song, pretty much. It was released in 1966. It peaked at number 7 in the Billboard's Top 100. And awesome song. Awesome song. One of my all-time favorites. This next one is the Letter by the Box Tops. Released in 1967. It was the band's first and biggest hit. Reached number 1 in the States and Canada. Joe Cocker also released it in 1970 and put his own spin on it. It was considered number 372 in the top 500 songs of all time. Great song, The Letter by the Box Tops. What classic list wouldn't be complete without this list? Someone to Love by the Jefferson Airplane. Hugely psychedelic band, but amazing band. I have one of their albums. Just love it. Released in 1967, ranked number 275 on Rolling Stone's Top 500 Greatest Songs of All Time. And it reached number 5 on the Billboard Top 100. Great classic song. Grace Slick and Gang. Timeless classic. And finally, Innocents and Peppermints by Strawberry Alarm Clock. Super psychedelic song to end this great 60s list. It was released in 1967. Reached number 1 on the Billboard Top 100. It spent 16 weeks on the charts and reached the number 1 spot for a week in 1967. It earned a gold disc for sales of over 1 million copies as well. So it was no slouch. But that's my list of some great 60s hits. Again, look for my Spotify link below. Enjoy the songs. Hope you enjoy this video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.